starting to learn or try to understand and then take into action in your life. Even many people that they call themselves as the Buddhist, but actually they really don't understand what the Buddha or who is the Buddha. That's why Buddha say, who sees the Dhamma also see him. But the one who never understand the Dhamma, they never see the Buddha. That's why you see, even in the country that most of or the majority of people call themselves as a Buddhist, but the way that they do or they act is always worship or pray to get something from the Buddha. That it is not the way that Buddha taught. So what I want to tell you today, I want you to separate or to see two kinds of Buddhism. The Buddhism that people always see, they see only the way that people do, people worship or people pray to the Buddha. But the real Buddhism, no worship, no pray, no any method to get happiness without understanding and try to practice by yourself. That's why Buddhism is known as the teaching of Buddha. If it is the teaching, we have to learn and then practice. So this is my short speech before all of you ask the questions. And I'm not the one who always answer the question, but all venerable here can also. Thank you.
Ms. Paula, you got a question?
Actually, this is not my question. It's actually a question from a person actually in New Zealand. Her name is actually Benka Trin. She just want to actually, she said here, she want to understand what is the right concentration, effort, and mindfulness. She can't differentiate them. And another one is concentrations mean right contemplation.
Right concentration, right mindfulness. So you know the word right? Right is not wrong, right? Right is not wrong. When we talk about effort, it is English word. Sometimes it's hard to find the word that have the same meaning as the Dhamma. It's translated from the word Samma Vayama. Samma Vayama means right effort. Mindfulness is translated from the word Sati, Samma Sati, and right concentration is translated from the word Samma Samadhi. So it is a little bit hard for me to speak in English about the definition of that word, of this word, but however I try. Mindfulness or Samma Sati, Samma Sati, it's kind of awareness to all things that we experience in life. Each time that we experience all things that happen to our life, but such as like when we see something, when we hear something, or smelling or tasting, or when we think about something, try to know or try to understand the reality of all things that always happen. Like when we see something, it is just seeing, no self, no others. It is just the consciousness that experience the visible object. But without mindfulness, we always confuse that there is I in this world who see something. But actually, there is no I or others in this world. It is just the idea of I. When we try to understand all things or all elements that join together, for example, in the water, we call water. But actually, there is no water. If we refer to the scientists, it is called H2O, right? Yeah. But water is just the name that we always say we easy to know, to recognize. But actually, there is no real water. And all things in this world always happen from many millions of atoms that join together to make one thing. So, right mindfulness is the awareness of something, the reality as it is, not I, not other people, but just elements that happen at a time, from one moment to another moment. So maybe it is hard to understand, right? Sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. And right concentration. The Dhamma word called ekagata or samma samadhi. It is when you focus on something, you concentrate on something again and again and again. The way that you control your mind, not allow it to think many things at the same time. For example, when you think of the Buddha and you always try to think of the goodness of Buddha again and again and again, make your mind calm down. You cultivate your mind, reduce all bad things from your mind. Don't allow your mind to think with anger, with greed or delusion. So when your mind is calm and it always focus on one thing that you always try to think, it is called samma samadhi or right concentration. You get it? Okay.
Thank you very much for allowing me to share the knowledge about right concentration or right mindfulness. First of all, I would like to pay homage to the threefold gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and also pay my respect to all Venerable here, especially for Venerable San Sochea, and his given name is Vajra Panyao. And other Venerable monk here, Venerable Bo, his given name in Buddhism, Nyana Saranao, and Venerable Gong Pang, his given name in Buddhism is Brahmacho Tao, and the last one is Venerable Gagpi. His given name is Kalayana Thero. And then also I would like to appreciate to all of you for coming here in this temple this morning, and all the organizers in this occasion this morning, because we have a preeminent monk as Venerable San Sochea. He's well known in Buddhism in Khmer language, and a lot of followers and listeners understood, and he can convey all of the mind and thinking from the wrong concentration or wrong understanding to right understanding. And then when I see all of you here, I'm very a bit panic, and I can't concentrate myself well. That's why we are talking about concentration. So how can we differentiate between right concentration and wrong concentration? As Venerable San Sochea had mentioned earlier, because concentration can be derived in two ways, as wrong concentration and right concentration. What is wrong concentration? If we concentrate to the wrong thing, as a sensual thinking or sensual thought or harmful thought, or the thinking we concentrate want to kill other or want to hurt other feeling, that we call wrong concentration. And the Buddha also teach us not to cultivate and to develop that thinking, because it's wrong. But in the right concentration, like try to cultivate your mind from the wrong to the right. That means thinking in the right way. As like when you think about the renunciation, or think about general thinking, or kindness, sympathy, and then altruistic thought or thinking toward others, and allow others to live as the way they are, as the way it is, and then not disturb them and not interrupting them, and not stop them on the way as they are. That means you control your mind in the right way, and then stop your mind from thinking in the wrong way. Sometimes we think about others, and we can control our mind not to harm others, not to hurt others or kill others, but we still thinking in ourselves like we are harming others, but we can stop from harming others, but we can't stop from disturbing ourselves. When we think about ourselves also, we can harm ourselves, because we think in a wrong way, and then we put ourselves in a wrong position, in a wrong concentration. That's why you are, or we are, staying in the like frustration or disappointment, and then also unhappiness in our own mind because we concentrate in the wrong thing. But in our life, we not always thinking in the right, in the wrong always, sorry. We can train our mind coming from the wrong thinking, coming to the right thinking, because we are be able to do that. The animal can't do that. That's why Venerable Santuji mentioned earlier, we are very fortunate as a human beings because we can cultivate our mind. We can train our mind up to the maximum level, not just stay in the misery or suffering state of mind. You know, when we are feeling suffering, that means we are staying in the wrong concentration. But only you can help yourself, others can't. That's why the Buddha said in his own language, Attahi attanao niyatao, kau he niyatao parao sochea. That means you are only the one who can help yourself, and others cannot. So how can you help yourself? By training your mind from the wrong thinking and to the right thinking. And also we can say wrong concentration to the right concentration. And this we can differentiate between what is right, what is wrong. Use our common sense. This is my understanding about this questioning. And then give to Venerable Santuji. Yeah, please. Thank you very much. Any question?
I would like to tell you that the question is not about only the word related with the Dhamma, but it can be the problem in your life. You have problem, you frustration, or you have any problem, because the Dhamma is about the life. Many people, even they are Buddhist, they always confuse that only the person who become older, that they have retired from work, that can practice the Dhamma. But actually, Dhamma is about our life. Dhamma is about the way we think, the way we act, and the way we speak. And it's the way that we get the real happiness in life. It's like the medicine. So the medicine is produced to cure all people, not just for any particular person. That's why people always say, how can Buddhism help people? I cannot answer this question. I can give you the question, how can the medicine treat your illness without taking the medicine? It's like when you want the umbrella protect you from the heat of the sun or the rain, you have to handle the umbrella. If you want the food make you full, reduce your hungry, you have to eat. The same thing as the Dhamma. The Dhamma, in the view of many people, they don't think it is useful for life. That's why they still live in harmful, in sorrow, or painful, or lamentation, They just say something, oh, why like this, why like that. But the Buddha told all the way that you can release yourself from the suffering. But actually, I don't say about the people who are not Buddhists. I'm talking about the Buddhists themselves. They still have limit of understanding the Buddha's teaching. That's why they don't see the real value of the Dhamma. So now I want all of you to think that Dhamma is not something that not related with our life. Dhamma is about our life. Do you understand what I mean? It's about our life. So we are discussing now is about our life. We can say we are just discussing about life, not Dhamma. Because if we call the word Dhamma, it's something strange in human's mind, I think.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that your English is fantastic, so don't worry. Okay. And that's from it being an Australian. Mindfulness is something that we need to practice every day. So from your perspective, how can we practice mindfulness? Some basic activities that we can do to practice mindfulness every day.
Okay, good question. Mindfulness, it is about how we try to understand the reality of life. But you can start from the beginning by understanding some basic of Dhamma words. For example, nowadays you always see, I see this, I hear this. It starts from the word I, right? I. But the mindfulness, it is the kinds of wisdom that try to see the reality of all things as it is. It is called ultimate reality. See the ultimate reality that it must start from little by little every day, when you see something, when you hear something, when you smell. For example, when you look to each other, you can know somebody immediately. Oh, he is Mr. what? Mr. Suryan, Mr. Brown, Mr. Yeah, automatically know like that. It is the nature of mind that you see it is called the appearance reality. Appearance reality. It is used to note something, to talk, or it's easy to recognize. But the mindfulness is beyond that. It sees the reality that is arising at the time that the mind experiences things. For example, when you see things, it is just, in Pali word, it's called vanna rup. It's color. Or we call visible object. It's just the visible object, no someone indivisible object. When you see something and you realize that it is just the visible object, so you focus only the reality of things. At that time, anger, greed, or delusion cannot happen in your mind. But when you see by the idea of I or others, you easily get angry with something or with someone do something bad to you. But if you are aware or know the reality as it is, it's automatically cut down your anger or your delusion with something that you have experienced in life. So it is very, very important in daily life practice. For example, at the time of speaking, you observe your mind. What kind of it? Is it with loving kindness or with anger? Aware that. Try to know that. In our daily life, because we never think about that, we just do something, respect, or we get the order from the mind. It's always happen with jealousy or with anger or with greed or with delusion, and we confuse it is I. When you confuse it is I, it means no mindfulness at that time. It is happen, it's a little bit big word called ignorance. Ignorance. Actually, there is not I. It's just the mind. It's just the consciousness. It's just the feeling. It's just the matter. It's just the mental state that always happen from moment to another moment, arising very quick and fall away very quickly. Never stay. So, mindfulness is the only way. It is called ekayanama. Ekayanama means the only way to cease all suffering or to eradicate all defilement in your mind. So, however, I just give you some clue or some example, but actually the one who really want to practice mindfulness need to know some basic word. It is important. But don't believe me, but try to experience by yourself. You will see the benefit of it. Okay?
Now, any other question, please? Rati, please come over. Get the microphone. That's very good. Thank you very much. And all of you, please, if you have any question, just come up and get the microphone, because our time is limited, because the monk cannot eat afternoon. So we need time to eat. So thank you, please.
Yes, I'm just a beginner in Buddhism, but I'm trying to understand what you're saying, kind of between the belay and everything else and the command. Talking about mindfulness, I'm trying to understand how I can relate that to my life and how I can practice. But it sounds from what you're saying is that I'm not sure whether my interpretation is correct. When we talk about mindfulness, it sounds like you're trying to say that you have to be able to understand your state of mind first in how you view things, because that puts a different spin or perspective on it. And then you talk about being able to see things as they are. I don't know whether you have to accept them as they are. Is that part of being mindful? You have to learn to accept things as they are. And the other thing too that I think I try to understand is when you associate, I think you're talking about associate things that are important in your mind. Like, for example, I think you were talking about recognizing or putting a color on things. I think my understanding is that you're trying to say that if you refer to things as they are, then you can accept them and you can practice mindfulness. But if you colour the things as they are, you make a judgment call on what they are, then it affects your state of mind. And say, for example, you might look at a person, Mr. Brown, for example. You don't actually see Mr. Brown, but you actually see someone else with a personality. He might be a kind or an evil person or whatever. And that affects your state of mind and your state of peace, which you may not accept. But how do I move then from accepting something as they are, or as it is, and learning not to make a judgment? How do I move from that to practicing mindfulness at a deeper level, like a more meaningful level to my life? I mean, that's just very introductive kind of understanding of how to accept things as they are. The things that I find at the moment, I've got 2 children. So sometimes I find it a bit frustrating because they don't behave the way that I want them to behave, but I can't just accept them as they are and understand what it is that they do and just let them go with it, you know. That might be a good way of actually, you know, having some sense of peace. But yeah, so I think my interpretation is, if everyone tried to understand what's here, I think that's what's being conveyed to me, and that's how I feel that I've got to interpret it. But yeah, so if you can just expand on that and maybe push it to another level where I can apply it to somebody like me with 2 little children and, you know, facing job and difficulties of raising children in life. How do I practice mindfulness and make it meaningful in my life, like in my situation? Just a little bit more useful for a lay person, maybe. That's what I'm interested in. Thank you.
Thank you. He said he is a beginner in Buddhism. No matter getting a head start never get success always. So even you are new, if you really want to know Buddhism in the right way, it's very, very good for you. You know, sometimes some people who follow Buddhism for a long time, but it's hard for me to explain, you know, because they just follow what they have experienced in the society. So you want to practice mindfulness to the higher step. Normal words say, don't be rushed, step by step. It should be natural. It should be natural, but the most important thing is right understanding. Is this the start point? Everything should be natural. If you force it, you feel embarrassed or stressful, or yeah. Right understanding is very important. Like when you learn something, you speak English very good. Maybe I think you were born here, you never tried to speak English, but you did in the right way. You listen and start to speak one word by one word every day, and then you speak English automatically without thinking. You don't care about mistakes, you don't care about grammar. But for me, I still think, because it is not my everyday activities. Yeah. I hear English only when I go to school. When I come back, I speak Khmer. So it is not natural. Natural should be in the normal life and everyday action. The same thing as mindfulness. At the beginning, it's a little bit hard, but the most important thing is you should know how to start at the first step. Right understanding is very, very important. That's why in Eightfold Path, it begins with samadhi. It is right understanding. Right understanding is the first step. You know, Atthangikame that we call Eightfold Path, it is only one path, not 8 paths, but have 8 steps. You know, Atthangikame, the Pali word Atthangika means one way have 8 steps. So if you can reach the first step, the second, third will come automatically. So first you have to have the first step, right understanding. For example, some people that just listen to the Dhamma talk, sometimes they confuse. If they think about Dhamma, don't care about children, don't care about something. No, not like that. Just find what is the real reason of the problem. You use your wisdom. For example, in politics, you know, they always use violence to solve the problem. They use violence to solve the problem. But wisdom can solve the problem calmly, very calm and peace. But it still solve the problem. Like the Buddha, he was the founder, he was he discovered Buddhism, and then he shows the way, and he created many, many monks, and yeah, he can control many, many monks. You know, in India, there were many different level of people come from different castes, and they can live together. They can live together. Some from kings, some were kings, some millionaire, some were Brahma, and some of them were the lowest level of people that's called Chandil. Yeah, the poor, very poor people. Yeah, some of them were homeless. But when they come together to live under the control of Buddha, they can live properly together. Buddha never used anger, never used violence to force them to do something, but just explain how to do it. Buddha never forced someone to do something, but he just explained the real way, explained people to understand, and then they changed by themselves. Buddha never changed someone. That's why even his father-in-law, Buddha could not change. Devadatta, Buddha's brother-in-law, yeah, Buddha could not change. So, the people who can change from bad thinking or bad activity to be a good by understanding they get the right understanding. So that's why I say right understanding is the start point and is the most important point. For example, you have kid. I never have kid. But the problem is not the kid. The problem is in your mind. The real problem is in the mind. When someone do something that opposite to your thought, it's not because of others. It's about your mind. If the way that you think The people who have the real wisdom, the real mindfulness in life, it's the same thing as people live in this world under the head of the sun, or under the rain, but they still live peacefully and with happiness by build the house. Even this time outside is a little bit cold, but we still can sit here. We get warm, comfortable. It's not because of the weather. It's the way that we live, the way that we apply. So it's not because of kid, it's not because of wife. If sometime when the Dhamma talk finish, I always heard people complain to each other, right? Oh, like this, my husband is very bad. Oh. It's not because someone. It's about your thinking. It's about your thinking. So, the Dhamma always train your mind, not train other. First, you train your mind, and then you know the way, and then you can share it to others. But it does not mean that the person who really have mindfulness can share and can teach others to follow them. No. It depends on how their understanding faculty. Like the doctor, always treat the patient, but no guarantee that the person who meet the very good doctor always cure. That's why we see many dead people take away from the hospital, right? So it both sides. When you want to explain someone, it's not just how much you are good at explaining, but it's also depend on their understanding facility or faculty. So I don't have any point to tell you anymore that you have to start from right understanding. Right understand still the best way. When it is become to your real activity, you don't try, don't force yourself to do it. Don't force it. It should be in natural, but just think little by little, little by little.
Can I simplify my own way?
Okay.
But I try to understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So you said when things occur, just like when your kids is doing something that you're not happy with, or they're just being naughty, okay, straight away you're going to get upset. Why? And are you saying to us, like, do we just, at that moment, we just stop and then sort of like think, what should I do to them? Or like, when we actually ask for step by step how to actually.
Could you please a little bit slower?
You have to be a good listener, Gordon. I start again slowly. So when I get upset with the kids, like straight away, you can't just at that moment you can't just sit down and think, when you come from work, you get so tired. And you expect them to know what they're doing, and they've got like the whole routines going, and nothing have done. And so at 8 o'clock at night, their bedtime's 8:30, and panic. You go, I don't have enough time. Why don't you do this and start smacking them and all around? But at that moment, I don't have like. Are you saying that just stop for that moment when you're upset and get angry, and what after? Like, it's okay, accept it. Is it what you mean? Because I can't accept that.
I think It is normal thing in life. Don't force yourself to stop it, but try to understand little by little. Don't worry, be happy sometimes with that. Yeah. When something you are angry is a nature. You cannot stop it. But just try to understand little by little. Angriness, is it a good or bad? Try to think it. Little by little. Why you cannot stop it? Because most of the time you never think it. That's why, like English. If only learn in the school but never practice, even try to read again and again, cannot speak. But if you take into action every day, little by little, it will come automatically. When when something happen wrong to you, and then the awareness happen first, very quickly. But as you mentioned, it means in your normal life you never think about that.
That's because we have an expectation, like, we expect the kid or that person, especially not just only the kid, actually, just say for my life, if like my friend, my close friend, my family, my parent, I expect them to understand me a bit more than anyone else. Like, for example, like if someone come and hurt me, I don't care what they say because I don't care about them. But if the person,
it's not just about care or not care. Sometimes you don't agree, you just, I don't care. It's not like mindfulness. Mindfulness is try to absorb everything that happen in your life, even if it is good or bad. But sometimes you only escape from something. It is not awareness. It's not about the mindfulness.
Can I ask, when you talk about having mindfulness, in the circumstance that you're faced with normal everyday life, say, with kids, if you're frustrated, for example, does mindfulness require you to be positive as well? Or you treat things as they are, you calm down and you leave things they are and you spend some time contemplating? I mean, I'm just trying to use mindfulness in an everyday situation, trying to practice Buddhism. But say in a circumstance, going back, where I'm frustrated and there's certain situations happening with the children, for example, I can see things as they are. I can accept that that's the situation, that they're children. I can try and be positive and look to improve the situation by being in a positive mood and maybe treat the children differently and accept them as they are children, and maybe I guess approach things differently than the way that I would if I'm frustrated, in a more calm manner, in a perspective that doesn't make any judgment call on the children, just seeing them as being and trying to deal with them in a positive way. Is that being mindfulness, being positive as well, or is mindfulness just accept things as they are and leave them as they are, and retreat myself into a situation where I'm put myself in a calm state first, or do I required to address whatever problems I'm having as well? I'm trying to understand, how do I practice mindfulness in my family? I know it's a bit an unfair question because we have two different backgrounds. It's an unfair question, but I'm trying to get the juices, the good things, to apply to my life. And I think everyone would be interested in as well.
Thank you very much for allowing me, Venerable. And then I would like to invite gentleman Suyen to cover this question. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable, to allow me to talk in this occasion. I would like to share the answer of your question. I understand that you talk about mindfulness, and then there's some situation in your life with your families, something like that you just said just right now. One thing is mindfulness is start with all the activity, awareness of all action and activity that you do right now, and this awareness then go deeper and deeper until they get to the ultimate reality. Yeah, and then do not react. Reaction is negative reaction, but you action, and you decide what I have to do to my kid right now. But this action is full of love and compassion. Yeah. Action is not reaction. Reaction is full of negativity. Action, you thinking, this I should do based on your knowledge and understanding, right understanding at this moment. So if you decide what to do to your kid, it may be some strong word, because it's late now, you got to hurry up. This is your action, but full of love and compassion to your kid. What is the outcome of this action? Be happy. Don't worry. What is the action, the outcome of the action? Yeah, this I would like to share in short. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, that's a very good question, and then also very wonderful answering about mindfulness. If we think about the word mindfulness, mind and fullness, do something without mindfulness, that means you have no mindfulness. Just mind can generate or can create anything, like action or reaction, like gentleman mentioned it. But if we do things with with mindful, that means we full of the mind thinking about that, and then not easily to let the anger or illusion or aversion come to manipulate our mind, to overcome, to make our mind feel very frustration or angry. So mindfulness, like Venerable San Sochea mentioned, is started from understanding. If we understand the nature of the kids, because our kid is like a childhood, and what is the nature of them, and the kids always like that, not just our kid, every kid, and it's their nature. And then when we understand the nature of the kids and let as they be, as it is, and we try our best to control or to train them, to teach them bit by bit, little by little, step by step. Look like we plant the tree or the fruit. Our duty is just planting and watering the tree. But when the tree making a fruit is not our duty. It's the tree that produce the fruit. Our duty is just plant the tree, and at the same time is we raising our children also at the same time, because the children coming from we don't know. When before they become our children, we don't know where they coming from, where they come from. Sometimes they come from our previous life as our enemy, or maybe our friends, or sometimes come to compete us. We don't know. So we learn to understand them, and then let them as the way it is, the way he is. That is my understanding about that. And give this time to Venerable. And any other question, please?
And that's the idea of the Buddha that you concentrate on everything, not flying around. Your mind is flying out, not in the thinking, not in the kind of work that you have to do. And when your mind is flying around, you can injure yourself. Like if you use the knife and you didn't handle it properly, you can injure yourself. You do something, the success is low, not as high as the mindfulness people. Also in the real life, mindfulness from one to another person, mindfulness from father to the daughter, to the son, to the wife, mindfulness from the wife to the husband, the son, the daughter. It's very useful because it can be the practice that can handle the situation in every way. It can handle the situation that someone is angry and you are mindful of something that could happen. So you can be very gentle to the person, talking to the person gently, and become having a good situation, harmoniously living together. That's one thing that you can be the person who practices mindfulness. Thank you so much.
Chơi mà này mà po, chơi mà này mà po, sát thổ po. Come over, so. Chẳng su.
First of all, I'd like to give my respects to all the venerables here, and good morning to everyone. Just a quick question. Could you please tell me, or explain to me, sorry, is there much difference in mindfulness and meditation? Is there much differentiation between the process of mindfulness and meditation? Yes, can you please explain?
Thank you. Sometimes it's hard to explain the definition of the English word, but if we learn about the root word, it's become from the Pali word. Mindfulness is sati, and meditation commonly translated from the word vipassana. But nowadays people are very confusing about the word meditation. Sometimes they use the word meditation instead of the word samadhi. Samadhi, it's kind of concentration, but sometimes people confuse. So if we learn about the real definition of the word samasati and samadhi, it's different. Samadhi means you control your mind or concentrate on something, not allow your mind to think something bad. It's just to make your mind calm down. It is concentration. But vipassana, we become from visesena, And pasat mean see, but not see by your eye, but by your wisdom. See something that's special than normally. In normal life, you see things like I said at the first time, you see as the person or thing. But vipassana, it is see the reality as it is. All things as it is. But the awareness or the mindfulness is the kind of realize thing again and again and again. So meditation that translates from the word vipassana, so sometimes it makes people confused. So that's why I want to use the root word vipassana. Vipassana means the terms of panya or wisdom that understand very, very deeply. Very deeply.
So would the initial process of that be the same way?
No, it's a little bit different, but when you cultivate mindfulness, it also helps wisdom happen. For example, in Satipatthana Sutra, Buddha asked people to cultivate mindfulness, but his purpose is to develop panya or wisdom. You know, that's why in Eightfold Paths are divided into 3 parts: right understanding and right thought. It's panya. The first 2 of Eightfold Paths are panya, and right speech, right action, right livelihood is moral, and the last 3 paths are called concentration. Yeah. So nowadays people always confuse the concentration and meditation. Yeah. So meditation, if it is the real meaning, if we talk about the real meaning, is panya. Yeah. It's another eyes, wisdom eye, to see the all thing as it is. Like when Gaondanya, the first disciple of Buddha, got enlightened, and then Buddha called his wisdom like Dhamma chakko. Dhamma chakko means eyes that see the real Dhamma. The real Dhamma. So you get some point? Okay? Yeah. Okay. In English.
First of all, I would like to pay respect for Lung Chakru, Sang Sochea, Lung Chakru, Colony, hay nâng ông, cư bà ông thật có tiếng kim cả nào ban score bên nhiều. Hay nâng sống chuẩn bị xin.
No,
I would like to say hello to everyone. I come from Sunday before. I got a poor English. You know, 6 years ago, I had an accident and I stayed in the hospital, and then I was allowed to go to study about mindfulness. I could hear the young man and boy ask about how to practice the mindfulness. I listen a lot of Dhamma as well, but the thing I can remember only very simple and little thing. Mindfulness for me, if I say something wrong, please look Jakru on Metta, correct me, please.
No metta, correct me.
Mindfulness for me, I think if you go to work, you know that I'm going to work. If you go shower to have shower, you do something, you remind yourself, yeah, you know, yeah. Like now we are sitting, yeah, we are listening to the Dhamma that Lung Cha, the people on learn.
Not Lung Chaទាំងពីរព្រះអង្គ
Our teacher just explain, yeah. You know, for me, I just take something easy because now I'm forgetful. So I know when now I'm sitting, I know I'm sitting, and I'm eating, I know now I'm eating. Or doing something, I just remind myself that I do something. You know, that's all I know. Because you said, yeah, you are busy and you don't know how to practice, how to do mindfulness. That's what I got a little idea. So,
Good. Yeah,
I
good.
don't know. It's good.
So what you're trying to say is always.
Please.
If I'm trying to translate, trying to understand you, you're saying that whatever I do, I should stay in the present moment, reflect on what I'm doing, and stay focused on what I'm doing. But exactly. So what happened when you have so many competing interests and priorities in your life? That's all happening at the same time. Do you try and prioritize, like, and understand the problem and trying to solve the problem, or do you just let things go and just put yourself in a state of being calm, but just let everything else falls around you? How? And or do you take the approach, see things as they are, solve the first complex problem, isolate the children if that's causing the problem or they're fighting each other, and then just put yourself in the room and stay calm? How do you apply the practice? I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can, but how do you apply that practice in? Can
I help you with that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
Because I learned mindfulness and then I started using it in my life because I've had small children once, and believe me, when they get older, they're not easier. So to find peace in myself, I have to find a way to use mindfulness in my life. And when I learn how to do that, I see that I eliminate a lot of the anger, a lot of the frustration, a lot of the stress and anxiety in my life too. Because what mindfulness really is, essentially in the basic step, it's awareness. It's not only awareness of the kids, it's awareness of yourself. So when you're busy, you say, okay, this is not my good state of mind to handle this part. So sometimes you have to convey it in that little moment when the kid's not behaving well. You use compassion and to see what the kid is going through. So you say, okay, he's playing up, okay, she's playing up. So you say, well, look, I feel really sorry for my kid because the kid could have had a bad day too, okay? And the kid could have had, who knows what happened to them from the day. So you as a parent, your compassion comes flowing out for your kids. If you don't feel that compassion for your kids, that's where it goes wrong, because you are angry too, they're angry too, and that's where it's clashing. So with mindfulness, it's about awareness. So awareness of yourself too, of your state of yourself, and awareness of your kid too. That's an example I can give. And it's applying for the same thing at work as well. So I used to have a lot of problems at work because it was about me a lot. At the state that you are in life at the moment, the ego is very big, the I is very big. Believe me, I was in your state too. You want to achieve something, you want to keep your family together, you want higher pay, the pay of your house. It's all about I. But when you start to be aware of that and more think about yourself more, mindfulness, like be aware of the state that you are in at the moment. Don't think of the future too much, because when you jump into the future, there's a lot of illusion with it. You think, oh, my kids are going to turn out terrible if they don't get enough sleep. And that's illusion. They might not turn out to be horrible because one night lack of sleep. They might not. So then it's not seeing reality. You're seeing the future that might not happen. And then you get carry off into the wrong mindfulness, basically. That's how I see it, that's how I apply it into my life, where I see myself drifting off into the illusion part of life. I bring myself back into reality, and then bring myself back into reality, and then see things as they are and apply compassion into what action I'm going to take. It's a lot better. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your sharing. Now I give you a very simple example. You raised the question that the just don't care with the kids and just try to see things as it is. It's not like that. The same thing as when you drive a car. You have always know what you are doing when you drive a car.
That's your instinct.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that, oh, just it is like this, like that, and then you close your eye and then you let the car go by itself. No, not like that. But when you drive, you cannot look anywhere that very far away from you. You just focus on the direction that you are driving to, but not very far, around 50 or 100 meters. So, and then, yeah, the law of traffic, they don't allow you to talk telephone or to do something that can you lose your mind. Yeah, out of control. Yeah. To see things as really is mean you see the real problem. Yeah. If you go with anger or with angriness, you will do something wrong. Yeah. It is the way that you need a bit patient with that.
Because what you're saying is exactly right. Because if you lose your mind,
Mm-hmm.
there's no point going to help somebody.
Yeah.
You're trying to solve a problem.
Yeah. Solving problem is the duty of wisdom, of your knowledge, not anger. Anger cannot solve a problem. Yeah, that's it.
Just one simple question. We're talking about mindfulness, which is wonderful, thank you. But how about being compassionate? How can we be more compassionate every day?
Compassionate. Compassionate, maybe the karuna or metta. Yeah. There are 4 noble states. Yeah, like prumvihara, metta, I know translate as loving kindness, and karuna, it's feel pity with the person or animal that has suffering. And mudita means joy with others' happiness. It's opposite of jealousy. And the 4th is upekha, equanimity. So the question is how to cultivate passionate, loving kindness or karuna. So we have to learn a little bit what is the object of that. To cultivate loving kindness, the object of the consciousness is when we look all human or animal with special eyes. I call peya jakho. It Pali word peya jakho. Peya mean love. Jakho mean eyes. You look with love. Try to look with love, not with angry. Don't try to focus on their mistakes. Everyone has mistakes. Even me, even all venerable. We all have mistakes. So there's nobody perfect, but they have some are good and some are bad. If you only focus their faults, you cannot cultivate your loving kindness. You're gonna be angry. You're gonna be disappointed with something that they do, right? Like in the fish, fish. Also, the fish always have the bone in the fish. If you want to eat fish, don't hate the bone. Do you understand? You can you can take the bone away and then you eat. And in the fish, there is not only the bone. If you always disappointed with the bone, you cannot eat fish. You got my meaning? That's why I told you when you listen to me, focus on meaning, not English. So, when you hate someone, it's not about someone, it's about you. The way you think. Like when you have kids, your small kid, your kid fight you or punch you, you never get angry with him because you don't mind. What is mine?
Somebody else.
What is mine? Where is mine? Never mind. So, hatred or something that happened in your mind, it's not about other people. That's why I say the word peya jakho. You can remember this word peya jakho. Peya jakho. Can you repeat it? Peya jakho. When you look all people with love. But it is not love with attachment. It's not the love with attachment. Love, it's kind of true love. In your mind, you always want to give them happiness. Love that we call true love never take you into trouble with that. But love with attachment, you always get trouble. That's why love is the cause of suffering. It is love with attachment. You want to get something from person or thing that you love. It is very, very, very dangerous for your future plan, future life. You love something, you want to get something, but sometimes you cannot get it. You will cry. But love someone as a true love, you just want them get happiness only. You want to get something. For example, I give you some simple example. When you feed the animal, but not the true love, but with you want to get something from it. You think when it grow with bigger, you will sell it to take money. But unfortunately, it got sick and died. And then sometimes you cry, oh my goodness, I lose money. You feed them, you give food to them, it does not mean that you have true love with that. But when you go for a walk in the public gardens and you see the birds and then you give the food to the birds just for fun, and then you walk away. Later on the bird die, you never cry because you never want to sell it. Yeah, loving that just want somebody get happiness with your love never cause you have trouble. So another one, how to cultivate karuna. Karuna mean pity, compassion, pity with some. Yeah, compassion is metta. Okay, metta. What I already said. Yeah, metta. So open your payachakho together. Now you look to me. What kind of eyes that you look to me? Oh, that's great. Yeah, it is the kind of compassion or loving kindness. Okay, try to look at their goodness. Your compassion will grow. Yeah, if you try to look their fault, your compassion will smaller and smaller. Do you understand? Yeah. You are all a very good person. Why? Because I can sit here because you are a good person. If you are cruel, you fight me, I cannot sit here. Đòi mong chăn này.
Last night you say everyone not 100% perfect. So you see everyone over here is very good person.
Very good, but not the best.
Remember the last night another one.
Yeah, very good.
You say no, people not 100%. But somebody just sit down and smiling, but something inside.
Yeah.
You see that the eye like a relationship looking, focus, but not mean like what I don't understand, but just show outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to give them a good value, you know. Yeah, when you smile to somebody, they smile at you too. When you express your face with angriness, they cannot smile at you, you know. Yes. Yeah, inside only themselves that know clearly. Yeah, you yourself know yourself. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we express with eyes, with body, with speech, and with action. Yeah, you are right. However, you are good, or very good, because you allow me to talk. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for coming. And thank you for your patience to listen my English.
Thank you for and thank you for everyone having discussion Dhamma talk. I hope you enjoy this morning and particular with Palaco. need is for my lifetime. Sorry, and we hope another time you coming this afternoon for the raising money for the Cambodia vision. Yeah.